Four more World Cup matches are coming today. Germany face Curaçao, the Netherlands face Japan, Ivory Coast face Ecuador, and Sweden face Tunisia. And this is not just another group stage day. Germany begin against one of the biggest underdog stories in World Cup history. Curaçao are the smallest nation by population and area to qualify for this tournament. The Netherlands face a Japan team that has recent wins over Brazil and England. Ivory Coast and Ecuador meet in a game built around defensive strength. And Sweden face Tunisia in a match where both teams arrive with completely different World Cup stories. So today we are going through the match news, current form, head-to-head records, hot stats, key players, missing players, win probabilities, and my score predictions. Let's get into it. Here is today's schedule in UK time. Germany versus Curaçao kicks off at 8 p.m. Netherlands versus Japan kicks off at 11 p.m. Then, overnight, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador kicks off at 2 a.m. on Monday. And Sweden versus Tunisia kicks off at 5 a.m. on Monday. That means Groups E and F now begin, and by the end of the day, we will have a much better idea of which favorites are serious, which underdogs are dangerous, and which groups could get messy very quickly. Let's start with Germany versus Curaçao. Kickoff is 8 p.m. UK time, and on paper, this is one of the most one-sided games of the tournament. Germany arrive in Texas in excellent form. They have won each of their last 9 matches. They completed their preparations by beating co-hosts USA 2-1 in Chicago, and only Brazil have entered and won more World Cups than Germany. But despite that form, Germany are not being treated as the main favorite by everyone. There is still a question around whether this young German team can handle tournament pressure. Julian Nagelsmann is only 38. That makes him the youngest manager at this World Cup. And interestingly, he is younger than Manuel Neuer, who is 40 and reportedly on target to start. That Neuer story matters. If he starts, he is set to become only the second German after Lothar Matthäus to play in 5 World Cups. So Germany have a mix of youth and huge experience. They have the attacking quality, they have the pedigree, and with Leroy Sané in form, they have a player who can destroy a game very quickly. Sané scored the decisive goal against the USA, and he has scored in each of his last 7 goal-scoring appearances for Germany. So if Curaçao leaves space, Germany will punish them. Now Curaçao. This is one of the stories of the tournament. They are the smallest nation by area and population to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. And their manager, Dick Advocaat, is 78 years old. That makes him the oldest manager ever to take charge of a World Cup match. Just getting here is historic. Curaçao scored 28 goals in CONCACAF qualifying, more than any other side in that region. So this is not just a defensive underdog hoping to survive. They can attack, they can score, and they have nothing to lose. But this is still a huge step up. Curaçao come into this after difficult games against Ecuador and Ivory Coast. A 4-0 win over Aruba last week will have boosted confidence. But before that, they had gone 4 games without a win. So the question is simple. Can Curaçao turn spirit, pace, and belief into a real World Cup shock? Or will Germany's quality be too much? The head-to-head history is simple. Germany and Curaçao have never met before. But Germany have lost only 2 of their last 17 World Cup fixtures against teams from the Americas. That record is strong. And the win probability is brutal. Germany, 91%. Curaçao, 3%. That tells you how big the gap is expected to be. But this is the World Cup, and underdogs do not care about graphics once the whistle goes. Here are the hot stats. Germany scored first in 8 of their last 9 matches. Germany's last 5 fixtures produced an average of 4.6 total goals. Each of Curaçao's last 3 fixtures produced over 3.5 goals. And 5 goals have been scored in the 80th minute or later across Curaçao's last 3 games. So the pattern is clear. Germany start fast, Curaçao games can open up, and late goals are very possible. My prediction for Germany versus Curaçao is Germany 4, Curaçao 0. I respect Curaçao's story. I respect their qualification run, and Dick Advocaat will have them organized and motivated. But Germany have too much attacking power. If they score early, this could become very difficult. Prediction: Germany 4, Curaçao 0. Now let's move to Netherlands versus Japan. Kickoff is 11 p.m. UK time. And this might be the most interesting match of the day, because the Netherlands are favorites, but Japan are not the kind of team you want in your opening match. The Netherlands are one of the great World Cup nearly teams. They have lost more World Cup finals than any nation without ever winning the trophy. 3 finals, no title. And now, Ronald Koeman leads another Dutch attempt to finally change that history. The Netherlands qualified strongly. 6 wins, 2 draws, 27 goals scored, only 4 conceded. They usually start World Cups well too. They have not lost a World Cup opener since 1938. That record is 7 wins and 2 draws since then. And they are unbeaten in 16 group stage matches since 1994. That is the longest active group stage unbeaten run of any team. So historically, this is exactly the kind of game the Netherlands normally avoid losing, but Japan are dangerous. Japan were the first nation to qualify for this World Cup, and they kept building momentum after that. They won each of their last 6 friendlies. That included eye-catching wins over Brazil and England. So this is not just a well-organized Asian side. This is a team with real confidence against elite opposition. Japan are playing in their 8th consecutive World Cup. They have never reached a quarterfinal, but they have become specialists at making big teams uncomfortable. At the 2022 World Cup, they beat Spain and Germany in the group stage. That alone should make the Netherlands take this very seriously. The head-to-head record favors the Netherlands. Japan have never beaten them. 1 draw, 2 defeats. One of those defeats came at the 2010 World Cup. The Netherlands won 1-0 that day. But this Japan team has recent form for upsetting major European nations, and the win probability reflects that this is not simple. Netherlands, 48%. Japan, 28%. So the Dutch are favorites, but not by enough to relax. Here are the hot stats. The Netherlands need just 4 more goals to reach 100 at the World Cup finals. They have conceded exactly once in each of their last 4 matches. 7 of Japan's last 8 wins, including each of their last 5, came with a clean sheet. And 7 of Japan's last 9 World Cup matches saw both teams score. That is a very interesting mix. The Netherlands usually score. Japan are excellent at keeping clean sheets. But Japan's World Cup matches often still produce goals at both ends. For the Netherlands, the key player is Memphis Depay. He is 3 goals away from becoming their all-time leading World Cup final scorer, and for all the debate around his club career, he remains a major international threat. For Japan, the key player is Ayase Ueda. He finished as Japan's top scorer in qualifying, 8 goals, 4 assists, and he has not lost an international appearance since February 2024. Team news matters too. Jurrien Timber has been ruled out of the World Cup. Bart Verbruggen suffered an injury in the last warm-up game, and Japan have lost Wataru Endo, who has pulled out of the squad and retired from international football. My prediction for Netherlands versus Japan is Netherlands 2, Japan 2. I know the Netherlands are favorites, and I know their group stage record is excellent, but Japan are exactly the kind of opponent that can expose them. They are organized, they are quick in transition, and they have recent proof that they can beat elite teams. Prediction, Netherlands 2, Japan 2. Next, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador. Kickoff is 2 a.m. UK time on Monday, and this is a very underrated match. Because both teams are built on defensive strength, Ivory Coast are back at the World Cup for the first time since 2014, and they arrive with momentum. They have won 3 straight matches. They recently beat France, the FIFA number 3 ranked side, and across their last 9 full internationals, they have lost only once. That should give them real belief. They are in an open-looking Group E, and if they can start with a win here, they will believe they can escape the group stage for the first time ever. Ivory Coast's success has been built on defensive solidity. They were one of only 2 teams to come through CAF qualifying without conceding a goal. That is a huge achievement, and it tells you what their tournament identity is likely to be. Compact, physical, hard to break down, and dangerous when they get moments to attack. Amad Diallo is the key attacking player to watch. His 6 goals for Ivory Coast have often been decisive. They have been either the first or last goal of the game, and 5 of them arrived after halftime. So if this match is tight late, he could be very important. Now Ecuador. They arrive in excellent form. A 3-0 win over Guatemala in their final warm-up game showed confidence. They have not lost a match since September 2024. That run includes 8 wins and 11 draws. They also finished second in CONMEBOL qualifying, and defensively, their numbers are outstanding. No team conceded fewer goals than Ecuador in South American qualifying. Only 5 conceded, and no team bettered their 13 clean sheets. So like Ivory Coast, Ecuador's success starts with defensive structure. For Ecuador, the key player is Ener Valencia. He has scored 6 of Ecuador's last 7 World Cup goals, and 5 of those came before the hour mark. That matters because Ecuador often need him to set the tone early. Kendry Páez has also been an injury concern after the Guatemala game, but he is still one of the most exciting young players in this squad. The head-to-head history is empty. This will be the first meeting between Ivory Coast and Ecuador. But there is one important warning for Ivory Coast. They have lost against CONMEBOL opponents in each of their last 3 World Cup appearances. The win probability is close. Ivory Coast, 38%. Ecuador, 34%. That tells you this could be a very tight match, and the hot stats support that. Only 4 of Ivory Coast's last 21 competitive matches saw both teams score. Ivory Coast have conceded only 1 second-half goal in their last 6 full internationals. None of Ecuador's 14 previous World Cup goals came from outside the box, and only 4 of Ecuador's last 22 games featured over 2.5 goals. So this does not scream chaos, it screams margins. 1 mistake, 1 set piece, 1 striker's finish. My prediction for Ivory Coast versus Ecuador is Ivory Coast 0, Ecuador 0. I think both teams respect each other. I think both teams are defensively strong, and I think this could become a tactical, careful opener. There is enough quality to win it, but the numbers point towards a low-scoring game. Prediction, Ivory Coast 0, Ecuador 0. Finally, Sweden versus Tunisia. Kickoff is 5 a.m. UK time on Monday, and this match is more complicated than it looks. Sweden's route to the World Cup was unusual. They actually finished bottom of their qualifying group, but their UEFA Nations League performances gave them another route, and when the chance came, they took it. They beat Ukraine and Poland in March to qualify, but their warm-up form has not been ideal. They failed to win either of their pre-tournament friendlies. 1 draw, 1 defeat. Still, Sweden have a positive World Cup opener record. They have lost only 2 of their 12 opening matches at previous World Cups. 5 wins, 5 draws, 2 defeats. And they are trying to progress beyond the group stage for a 5th consecutive World Cup tournament. That is a strong tournament habit. Even when Sweden are not perfect, they often know how to compete. The key player is Viktor Gyökeres. Fresh from winning the Premier League with Arsenal, he scored 4 times across Sweden's 2 playoff victories. 6 of his last 7 international goals have come after halftime. So if Sweden needs someone to decide the game late, he is the obvious threat. Tunisia arrive with very different energy. Their preparation has been poor. They lost both of their June friendlies without scoring. That includes a heavy 5-0 defeat to Belgium. So the warning signs are obvious. But there is also a reason for hope. Tunisia's World Cup qualifying campaign was exceptional defensively. They won 28 points from a possible 30. They scored 22 goals, and they did not concede a single goal. That defensive record will be tested immediately, because Sweden have serious attacking quality. But Tunisia will believe they can stay in the game. The head-to-head record slightly favors Sweden. There have only been 5 goals scored across the 4 previous meetings. Sweden have 2 wins, Tunisia have 1 win, and 1 match ended in a draw. That history points towards a tight game. The win probability gives Sweden the edge. Sweden, 51%, Tunisia, 22%. So Sweden are favorites, but not overwhelming favorites. Here are the hot stats. Sweden have not kept a clean sheet in their last 11 matches. Just 1 of Sweden's last 6 World Cup finals matches saw both teams score. Tunisia conceded 9 of their last 10 goals after halftime, and 6 of Tunisia's last 7 World Cup games were decided by a 1-goal margin at most. That tells me Sweden may win, but it might not be comfortable. Tunisia can make games tight, and Sweden's clean sheet problem gives Tunisia hope. Team news is worth watching. Victor Lindelof and Anthony Elanga missed Sweden's game against Greece. Benjamin Nygren went off injured in that match, and Tunisia midfielder Hannibal did not feature against Belgium after going off in the previous friendly against Austria. For Tunisia, Hazem Mastori is one to watch. 3 of his 4 international goals opened the scoring. So if Tunisia do score first, this match could become very awkward for Sweden. My prediction for Sweden versus Tunisia is Sweden 2, Tunisia 1. I think Tunisia can score. Sweden's clean sheet record worries me, but Sweden have more attacking quality, and Gyökeres feels like the player most likely to decide it. Prediction: Sweden 2, Tunisia 1. So here is the prediction recap. Germany 4, Curaçao 0. Netherlands 2, Japan 2. Ivory Coast 0, Ecuador 0. Sweden 2, Tunisia 1. That would mean Germany start with a comfortable win. Japan make a statement by taking a point from the Netherlands. Ivory Coast and Ecuador cancel each other out, and Sweden survive a dangerous opener against Tunisia. Now I want your predictions. Can Curaçao produce one of the biggest World Cup shocks ever? Will Japan upset the Netherlands again? Who wins the defensive battle between Ivory Coast and Ecuador? And can Tunisia frustrate Sweden? Comment your score predictions below. And if you want daily World Cup match previews, predictions, reactions, and football stories throughout the tournament, subscribe to Ali Pro Library and turn on notifications. Let's go.